real deeply curse you out. How about that?
You could real deal deeply something else. He, wait. All right, we're just doing a mic check. That's all.
No.
I'm right here. God dang it!
It's too late now. I'm using my flashlight. That is not how life works.
You can't use a flashlight and your phone at the same time.
You do realize every time you get on FaceTime, it cuts the flashlight. You about to piss me off because I don't think you would know this. If you're using your phone flashlight and you get back on FaceTime, it cuts the flashlight the fuck off.
Type shit.
Are we at 10 and 2? Are we seeing eye to eye right now? Because I know that we're not. I have 3 eyes. You have 1. I don't know what's going on right now.
Type shit.
You're only seeing it one way.
Type shit.
Uh-huh.
Type shit.
You must really love Jesus. You keep his name in your mouth so much.
That's their favorite one. What you wearing today?
I'm wearing green with brown. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off with blue. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, but I'm figuring out a way already.
Are there any topics you would like for me to discuss?
Yeah, I told you.
Well, tell me again.
I said he's pussy.
I cannot talk about that on a podcast.
No, not. You talk about everybody else's.
I can't talk about that subject matter on this podcast.
Why not? Why not? Since when that stuff stopped here?
I have to talk about something that's for everybody.
That is for everybody.
I don't think that's for everybody. I think that's classified.
Oh, you meant like it ain't for everybody, it's for you type? Or like what you
I meant like a subject matter that everybody can learn from and like get. Well, I thought you could conjure up something in your mind. You know what I'm saying? I could just like build off from that. You know what I'm saying? I usually go off the dome. I don't think it's okay.
Okay.
It's cool. I'll find something. I just need something like a theme of discussion, and then my mind it'll just work from there.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I'll figure something out, right? And then when I get done with it, I'll call you back and I'll tell you what I done. They can't learn from your coochie, Cray. It is not the Holy Grail.
Yes, it is.
For me, yes. Not for everybody else. Yes, I know, firsthand experience. But everybody else can't have that presentation.
I think it's an amazing presentation.
I know it is. It is the epitome of baptism, but that's not what we're here for. It has to be about a generalized topic that people can relate to.
They can't relate to that.
Not everybody has what you have, Cray. Let's just be honest here.
For real.
I'm trying to do a video, and you over here acting like the girl from Rick James. Can I do my video, please?
You are. We're talking about it, right?
Yes, I know we're talking about it. Okay. You would pick this exact time for me to talk about. Okay. I apologize for the shenanigans, y'all. I do deeply apologize for the shenanigans. Y'all know how women be. You over here just trying to put in work. You feel me? Trying to put in work, and then they just come out the blue with titties in your fucking face. You feel me? Like, damn, what are we doing? You feel me? I'm trying to get all my stuff together. Are we good? We good, ain't we? I hope we good, because last time doing my goddamn podcast, I didn't want to focus on a nigga. I'm just saying, I didn't want to focus on a nigga. But this is episode 105. All right, we locked in, and when we locked in, ain't no switching up. You feel me? I believe this is 105. I do be switching up numbers sometimes. I have tended to do that, so checking right now on my YouTube studio from my last podcast just to make sure, because I refuse to be out here looking like a fool and saying this episode 105 and it's really not 105. So the last one was 104. Trying to go to the description. Y'all bear with me. It's a lovely day outside. The sun is shining and I'm feeling good. Yes, it is 105. Yes, This episode is 105. Deeply appreciate everybody who taps in with me, watches all my content from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube. Y'all are very much appreciated. I highly appreciate every last one of y'all. I love the support. I actually just uploaded a comment, and I actually, you know what? Just because there's somebody that watches my content, I want to give them a special shout out. And if they ever come across this video, I know they're highly appreciated. So I want to give a special shout out to this lovely woman, and I want to read her comment, and I also want to show her comment on here as well. Her name is Keisha Clark. So shout out to you, Miss Keisha. And along with everybody else who also gives me a lot of feedback and stuff like that. But this one just really hit home because this was the first thing that I saw when I woke up this morning. So it popped up on my phone, woke up early this morning, washed my face and everything like that. And then when I went to go check my phone, this is what popped up. So I'm going to read to y'all what she said. And this was under, I believe, my last podcast episode, right? So episode 104 about standing for something or falling for anything. If you haven't seen that one, it is linked. So it'll be at the very end of the video if you're watching this on YouTube. But she says, "This is gold. You spoke to me, my life and my soul. I am struggling with my life and my circumstances. I am at rock bottom. I left religion recently. I am very passive and stuck, never standing up for myself and what I believe in fear of confrontation. No more. It is time. Thank you so much. You have such a beautiful soul, mind, and spirit. I know you are reaching so many as myself in such times. Sending love and appreciation your way. Keep these coming." And shout out to you, Miss Keisha. I really do appreciate that. I make this type of content every single day because I want to be that person that the 18-year-old and the 17-year-old me never had. I want to be that person that the 15 or 14-year-old me never had. I want to be the person that the 13 or 12-year-old me never had, you know? And not to say that 13, 14, 15-year-olds, you know, watch me. I think my content is a little explicit and it's like 18 plus. That's just my personal opinion. But, you know, that inner child needs to be healed one way or another. And I want to produce the content where we're in our 20s and reaching 30s and 40s, and the 14, 15-year-old us, the inner child in us, haven't healed yet. They haven't found closure. We still seem to think about the things that have happened to us time and time and time again when we was in high school, or that one incident in middle school. And mind you, 26, right? 26 years old, and I'm still thinking about stuff that happened to me when I was 21, 22. You know, when I was back in college and I was trying to hit that one girl up and she tried to make me look like a fool. Or one time I was trying to shoot my shot at a girl and she was going to give me her Instagram instead of her number, and she never DM'd me back. Like, just little shit, bro. Just little type stuff. Getting that with a girl and we kicking it off really well. Then the moment she gets in my room and sees the Baphomet decoration, she don't want nothing to do with me. And that actually happened. I mean, it's ridiculous. All type of stuff, just little stuff. And it's just like, it's not stuff that I just hold a grudge on and I make myself feel bad about myself, but little stuff that just randomly pop up in your mind, right? We all have those type of moments in life, you know? And to the inner child, you know, in my last podcast episode, I talked about how you have to stand for something or else you will fall for anything. In other words, you have to be somebody that has to be the bigger voice. You have to be the person to stand up for yourself, even when nobody else is going to stand up for you. When you're backed against when you're backed up against a wall, when you're placed in a corner and it seems like everybody is attacking you and everybody's coming at you, you have to be the person to have the self-confidence and to be the person to be authoritative and assertive enough to tell somebody off, to tell somebody about themselves. And I can speak from a place of you know, wanted to be that person to develop in self-growth, wanted to be the person to be assertive. I had to learn how to be assertive because nobody took me serious. I had to learn how to take myself serious because I didn't even look in the mirror and see myself as serious because nobody else saw me as serious. And I said in the past, in the last podcast episode, that if you don't even see yourself as one way, nobody else outside of you is going to see yourself as one way. And people treat you and people see you how you see yourself and how you treat yourself. And think about it. A lot of bitter people treat themselves like shit. A lot of bitter people. If a person is bitter to you, if a person is just a straight up asshole, most likely they give themselves even more negative feedback to themselves. They punish themselves more than they tried to punish you. They make themselves feel even more bad than they feel for you. I'm a big SpongeBob fan. When I was growing up, I used to see Squidward, and I used to always think he was just very stuck up and bitter, and he just hated the world. As I began to get older, and I was about, 16, 17, 18, I began to understand Squidward a little bit more, because I'm like, dang, SpongeBob is a little bit of a little annoying. They ain't treating him very well at his job. Always running into Squilliam, and Squilliam is conquering and accomplishing his dreams, and yet he's stuck at the Krusty Krab, and him crying himself to sleep. And not that I would cry myself to sleep, as much as Squidward would do and stuff like that, but at that moment in life, I could understand Squidward. I get to 24, 25, and 26, and after 20 years, Squidward is still the same way. Squidward is still bitter, still mad at the world, still playing victim, still hating everybody. And then I get to a point of feeling bad for Squidward, because I'm like, bro, you could do so much in life, and you have suppressed your own value to just a Krusty Krab. I mean, there's been times that he has quit, and then he was just on the streets. Spare change, ma'am. You mean to tell me, with all the talent that you have, from art to making food to graphic design to being a musician, and it's very, a little edgy in terms of like when he wants to be a good musician, because sometimes, most of the time, he's not a good musician. But for the most part, he has all these different talents, all these different elements. He has networks, and yet he doesn't do anything with them. How is it that Squilliam can do everything that he has failed in? Why do you continue to make that the narrative? Why are you content with that narrative? And a lot of us, we feel for Squidward. A lot of people I have heard can relate to Squidward. They are just like Squidward. And it's like, this system in society has somehow programmed you to be content with being average, or even lesser than average. They have made you, like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen on TikTok of people talking about this society and the economy and Trump and the job market. I mean, it's like we love to feed into negativity and then wonder why our life is so negative. That don't make any type of sense. Like, I would never sit down and watch a horror film by myself. I don't like horror films. If I don't like horror, if I don't like gore, 24/7 in and out, why would I sit myself down and, digest the content and take in that content every single day, every single hour, every other hour? That doesn't make any type of sense whatsoever. Does that make sense to you? Because that don't make sense to me. So when you say that you want to accomplish more in life and you want to be more successful in life, why don't you feed more into that? Does that make, like, I hope somebody's hearing me, and we're going to get into the topic of discussion, because this actually probably adds a little into the topic of discussion, but we'll see as we go, because I don't really have no notes. I'm just going off the dome and just off of a topic. But a lot of us, we feed the negativity in our life, and then wonder why our life is so negative, why we can't accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. We always listen to that inner devil within us. And the devil in terms of the adversary, or the one who is opposing everything that we want to accomplish in life. And for those who know my content, you know that I take up being demonic or being satanic in a positive light, because you have to be the one to oppose this society. You have to be the one to be the adversary and to go against what everybody else is saying, and to be the divine rebel, right? So I take being satanic or being demonic in terms of that type of reference. But in this reference, in terms of, if you know about the enemy or the adversary, or like how Napoleon Hill talks about outwitting the devil, there's an inner adversary, there's an inner antagonist within you that is scared of fear, or who is scared of growing, so they place you in fear. They utilize fear and anxiety and worry and doubt, and they throw these different tools at you. They throw these different, ideas and thoughts out of you. Your clock goes off at 4 o'clock, and that inner adversary tells you, you probably should stay in bed about 15, 20 minutes. You need the extra sleep. You want to go to the gym, but your body's aching. That inner adversary tells you, bro, we tired, bro. We hurting. You feel your leg, right? You start feeling your leg, hurting a little bit more. You feel your back, right? We probably shouldn't go today. That's what, if you don't tame the dragon, if you don't put your, devil or your Satan or your antagonist, your inner antagonist within some type of direction to help you instead of, neglecting you or putting you on a bad road, it will be to your demise. So you have to be somebody who has to stand up against the dragon. Sometimes you have to slay the dragon to resurrect the dragon, and now the dragon now works in your favor. It's not about you crucifying the flesh. It's about you renewing yourself so that you can become a new body, so that you can become a new soul, a new spirit, a new person, a new creature. Man, what the fuck is going on, bro? This is not the type of imagery that I need for my podcast, bro. But a lot of y'all do it to yourselves, man. A lot of y'all continue to put yourselves in this box, and y'all continue to blame everybody, your societies, Trump, your family, your parents. And a lot of y'all place yourselves in these midlife crisis. Y'all give yourselves so much anxiety. Y'all place so much judgment on yourselves that y'all begin to put yourselves in what they call these midlife crises. Y'all feel like the world is coming to an end. You feel like you didn't do enough. You feel like that you're never going to accomplish your dreams and all this different stuff, right? All these different things begin to conjure up in your mind. You feel like you're scared of being stagnant. You're scared of not exceeding in life. You're scared of never accomplishing your dreams. You're scared of just being at the same job, doing the same thing, clocking in at the same workplace that you hate, dealing with the same people that you hate. And you have to just sit down and reassess your life. But a lot of people are scared to take authority. But even more so, a lot of people are scared to take responsibility. People don't want to hold themselves accountable for the shitty life that they have created for themselves. It is too hard for people to take accountability for being obese. It's too hard for them to accept that they have been shitty to other people in relationships. It's too hard for them to accept the fact that they never did enough to really get to where they wanted to be at, to really work on their skill sets, to really take those calculated risks that were necessary to buy those books, to take the necessary time every single day, whether it's 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, to really mold themselves into the person that they want to be. It's too hard for them to just be like, I hold myself accountable for the shitty life that I am living right now. It's too hard because they already hate themselves enough. They just refuse. They feel like they're being attacked. They feel like they're a victim to society. Listen, there's no reason why somebody younger than you, 10 years younger than you, 15 years younger than you, there's no reason why there are people out here younger than you making 6-7 figures. But you see yourself so low down and so below the world and so lesser than. You feel like they are smarter than you, and they're not. A lot of them aren't smarter than you. A lot of y'all might have bachelor degrees, masters. A lot of y'all are very educated. A lot of the time that's your problem, because you always feel like if you exceed in life at 40 and 50%, because you didn't reach 80 and 90%, that you should give up. When you look at the percentage of what it would take for you to become a millionaire, it's less than 10%. When you look at how much it might take for you to become a billionaire, it's less than 1%. Is that going to stop you from wanting to be a fucking millionaire? I hate when people on social media talk about, look at the divorce rates. Look at all these women out here who be doing this type of stuff. I can't be in an old relationship. Dumbass. You let the world make the decision for you on whether or not you want to be happy, on whether or not you want to find romance, on whether or not you want to find somebody that you can be in a relationship with? Are you that dim? Do you see yourself as so below the earth that you're going to let what the world tells you, what society tells you, the circumstances between your mother and father, because you never seen your mom and dad get along, you feel like that's going to be your life? Wow. It was that easy. Because every time you get on Twitter, you always seeing hashtags and things being blown up to proportion about relationships coming to an end, about how things ain't how they used to be. It was that easy. That's all it took for you to no longer see relationships as worthy to be in. You don't feel you're worthy enough, that you're valid enough, that you're enough to be loved. Because that's what you're telling me. It's not even that these divorce rates are going out here and these women are scandalous. No, you don't feel yourself valuable. You proclaim to be high value, but that's all smoke and mirrors. Because the cars don't mean shit. The big houses don't mean shit. Your job, all that don't mean shit if you're not going to pass that on to the next generation. If you're not going to build generational wealth. If you're not going to build an actual family, a foundation for your kids and for your kids. Your dad might not have built that type of foundation for yourself. You could be the first one. People out here in this world, they project their trauma and their negativity to the world. You don't have to feed into it. Turn your phone off, bro. Get off social media if all you're going to feed yourself is negativity. Don't feed into negativity and then you look back at your life and why did my life look like this? Why do they get to live the good life and I don't? Nigga, look at yourself in the mirror, bro. I really want people to reassess their life. I want you to watch, really study yourself. Look at the type of entertainment that you feed into. Look at the people that you follow on social media. Look at what you spend time doing every single day. Look at the people that you listen to. Look at the people that you have in your spaces. If you can't look at your life and figure out why my life is this way, I don't know what else to tell you. Has good relationships. Nobody in your friend group you can testify to having good relationships or having successful relationships with women, and you're wondering why you ain't getting women. Ain't none of your homies. Ain't not one of your homies got families. They don't have no wives. They don't have no girlfriends. They ain't have no successful. None of that. Just passing and smashing and passing. If even that. Some of y'all are so done with women that you just feel content being with your homeboys. That's hanging. I never could relate to that, but that's okay. Y'all come out eventually. I have friends who have gotten married. Matter of fact, one of my friends got married late this year. I have homeboys that have started families with their significant other. I have friends that are in long-term relationships with their girlfriends and boyfriends. I choose to be a voice of reason. I choose to have these people around me because I refuse to let the world tell me who to be. 90% of the world could be having failed relationships. There's still 10%. Over 70% of businesses are shut down after 10 years. I could still be part of the 30. Why do you cut yourself so short? Divorce rates are what, 50% plus, 50 plus percent? I could still be part of the other 50. 99% of the world is living just regular smuggler and there's always going to be the 1%. I could still be part of the 1%. They're still human like me. They probably went through the trenches, maybe not just like me, maybe a little bit worse. That should be even more motivating. There are people right now who are millionaires and billionaires who had it worse than me. And it took until they was, 35, maybe even 40 for them to get their life together, for them to really hit that first meal or to be a billionaire. I'm 26. They didn't come to a realization of this until they hit their 30s, most of them. How much more can I reach to that climax? How much more can I reach to that mountaintop? How much more can I reach to that success now that I have become aware of my potential? And a lot of y'all are afraid of y'all potential. A lot of y'all are afraid of growth. You ever feel that anxiety of wanting to turn back when you have your first job interview? You ever feel that anxiety when you start going through the pacing of your job applications and going all of these, different rounds of interviews and going through the tests? Your body is in survival mode. Your body's telling you turn down, turn back, deny. But you're still pushing because you know that you have to grow. You know that you have to make this type of money. You know that you have to be somebody for yourself, for your family, for others around you, for your life to advance. You have to continue. And yet that's what you have to do. You have to continue to push yourself. Your body telling you to turn around and to be put in this fear mode, in this anxiety, is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Do it while you're in anxiety. Do it while you're full of anxiety. Do it while you're full of fear, because that's a sign of growth. That's a sign that you are stepping out of your comfort zone and you're being familiar with the unfamiliar. You're starting to make known of what is the unknown. And a lot of the times, the things that you keep conjuring up in your mind, that you keep overthinking, ain't even all that bad as you might think it to be. Let's just be frank. So what is it? What is the topic of discussion, Tyrone? You've been going off for about a good 10, 20 minutes. What is the topic of discussion? The topic of discussion is dealing with sin consciousness. And this is inspired by my boy Christian Smith. He was talking about sin consciousness on one of his reels yesterday. And I want to talk about that as a piggyback on my last podcast episode, where you have to stand for something or fall for anything. And I want to specifically talk about how a lot of people refuse to tap into their godhood. They refuse to tap into who they are as an individual because of how they see themselves. A lot of the things that aren't going well for you in life, in terms of your insecurities, in terms of being stagnant, is because of how you see yourself. A lot of y'all don't feel worthy to have the life that you want. Let's talk about it. You feel that other people in life, unconsciously, you feel that other people in life have already put in the work and you didn't. You are so much of a perfectionist that you feel like you have to have everything in the right place at the right time. A lot of people out here are making mid content and still getting clients. That'd be pissing me off. It used to, at least. Making mid content. I know I can make better content than they do. I'm an editor. I know I can edit content and captivate an audience bigger than they can. I used to think like this, but I'm like, why in the world do they get clients and I don't? How is it I got 20,000, 15,000 people? They only got 3,000, 4,000 people, and yet they got 20 people up in their live. They got people on their workshops. They got people in their webinars. What is it? The thing is, I didn't do what they were doing. I didn't go out of the way to build the type of relationship with these type of people on my platforms. I didn't want to go the extra mile because it made me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable to go live. It made me uncomfortable to have conversations with people that I was unfamiliar with. I used to have this motto of like, I don't really get on lives unless I really get to know you. But I have to become so much of a people person that I have to talk to people that I don't know. I have to be uncomfortable with confrontation. I had to be uncomfortable with confrontation. If I'm going to be somebody who is going to speak my mind, I have to be ready for what comes for that. And some people on social media feel like that when it comes to negativity, like it bothers me. Bro, I've been dealing with negativity since I was 8 years old, maybe even younger than that. You think I'm bothered by negativity and what people have to say about me at 26? I have done the self-work. I have done the shadow work for myself to understand what position I'm supposed to play. I have heard everything that there is to know. I have heard all the insults. Anything that you could probably try and throw at me. From my hair, to my complexion, to my looks, to my facial features, to my body, everything. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. There's nothing that you can say to me that can get to me. Because I have built up my self-esteem and I have built up myself to such an extent that I have chosen to be this person and to love myself enough to not let anybody get to me. And that is what you have to do for yourself. But a lot of y'all, and especially with people in the church, you have been conditioned through religion to hate yourself. I have talked about this with, friends that I used to have that were very religious, that were very Christian, and they always felt like that they was never good enough. They always felt like they had to keep building a relationship with God. They felt like I have to try and find this church. I have to try and find this fellowship to try and be around people so that I can have a better relationship with God. I'm like, you're God trying to find God, bro. What what is we talking about? You are God trying to find God. The mystic Kabir, the Indian mystic Kabir said, I laugh when the fish tries to go and find water. I believe that's what he said. Hold on. I want to quote this right. Yeah. He said, I laugh when the fish is in the water. I laugh when the fish in the water say that they are thirsty. And I laugh when a man goes on a pilgrimage to find God. That is so, I love that quote, bro. That's what the mystic Kabir said. The Indian mystic Kabir said, I laugh when the fish in the ocean are thirsty. And I laugh when men go on a pilgrimage to find God. Why? Because the fish is one with the water. A fish cannot be a fish without water. If you take a fish out of water, it dies. A man is going on a pilgrimage to find God. If a man does not have God, he ceases to exist. If we don't live in our body, if our body doesn't have a spirit, this body fades away. This body decays. The only thing that's keeping this body alive is our spirit, the energy, the life force that is within us. When our life force, when our spirit leaves this body goes back to the earth. Why? Because our spirit is God. Our spirit is divine supreme consciousness. And that a lot of y'all cannot accept your true identity. And that startles y'all. That frightens y'all for you to accept your own identity. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. Man, we might have to move because some of these white people want to play some fucking game. I wanted to record this video before the opportunity slipped me. And the reason for that is because I was trying to record podcast episode 105, but I had got interrupted by some white people that wanted to play tennis. Anyways, nonetheless, I wanted to seize this opportunity, and I also want y'all to know if y'all can see all that right here. I don't know if y'all can see all that. Maybe I could try and turn down the... Y'all can see that? So why nobody's out here but me, because we putting in the work. My battery on my camera is like on one battery, so I might even have to switch it out while we over here recording. But nonetheless, we still gonna put in work, and we still gonna get it rolling. We still gonna record, right? So as I was talking about in the past live stream or podcast, as I was talking about in the past podcast episode, we were discussing sin consciousness. And that is a very big issue for a lot of people. And growing up in the church, that's all you will mostly hear about concerning your divinity and concerning your status with God, is that you are a low down sinner. And in order for you to be accepted by God, you have to first kneel. You have to bend the knee. You have to admit to God that I am worthless. I am a low down sinner. I am nothing without you. And I ask of you to come into my life and all these different things that you ask for Jesus. And Jesus is supposed to do it just on hand if you believe in your heart and you come sincere. It's interesting though, because Jesus can do that for you, and all the other things that happen concerning Christians or people alone in this world, he turns a blind eye. It's very interesting. And the reason why I say that is because how in the world can you be God and turn a blind eye to all the atrocities committed by the people who proclaim to be Christian? These people are giving you a bad rep, Jesus. If I'm alive and if I have the ability and the power to do something about my reputation being smeared, I will do something about it quickly. But it seems like Jesus don't really care that much, does he? People can name a ship after him and traffic people from their homelands to the Americas. He don't seem to care about that. Women can be taken advantage of and be experimented on, and her race of people, her grandchildren, can be considered 3/5 of a human. He don't seem to really care about that. Sonya Massey can call on the name of Jesus seconds before her life is taken. He didn't show up for her. Emmett Till could have been crying out to God. We don't know. He could have been crying out to God. The hundreds of black men and women who were lynched, who were taken advantage of. Houses were burned down. Cities were burned down. Crying out to God, crying out to Jesus, never came through. But it seems like the people who you proclaim to be non-Christians or who proclaim to be users of the devil or false Christians They seem to have all the power. And for centuries, they keep indoctrinating you with thinking that you're lesser than them. Do you see how this sin consciousness and you considering yourself inferior doesn't advantage you? You are the literal mothers and fathers of the universe. You are the beginners of civilization. And they have made you to deem yourself as lesser than. It doesn't take for them to tell you that you're 3/5 of a human, because they have already programmed you with that programming. And if it doesn't help even more, they not only program you with this, but it has gone so far to the point where now you just act like it. You keep feeling sorry for yourself because you don't see the value in yourself. And because you don't see value in yourself, you try to bring other people down and dim their light too. These stupid dogs over here, bro. And I know they see me, that's why they barking. Look at these niggas. They big ass dogs too, bro. If one of these little niggas jumped the fence, I'm going, bro. I'm leaving the camera and everything. They howling. I'm telling you, I'm leaving y'all here. Anyways, you keep feeling sorry for yourself because you don't see the God in you. And that's the problem that I have with Christianity and the church. I don't like how they condition billions of people to being lesser than. I hate that. I hate that there are people who continuously go on my page every single day, and because I start to see the spark in me, I begin to see the divine light within me, that I go out of my way to be somebody. I go out of my way to be the person that I'm supposed to be, that I'm destined to be, that I see the light, that I am the light of the world. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge the Christ energy within me. I acknowledge the infinite life force within me. And so I choose to do what my purpose is to do on this earth. And for whatever reason at all, because there are certain Christians who are not conditioned with that type of ideology, because there are people who aren't conditioned to see life the way that I do, they want to shun me. They want to bring me down because I acknowledge the God in me while they are taught to worship the God outside of them. And even more so, you're being conditioned to worship a fragment of a God. He's not even really a powerful entity. It's the illusion of him thinking. And it's the illusion of him to make you think that he is a powerful entity. This man couldn't even out wrestle Jacob. He couldn't. They want to make you believe that it's an angel. And in some references, you can go to the Hebrew, and people have debated whether it's Yahweh or an angel. Either way, an angel is supposed to be a representation of God's strength. The man couldn't even out wrestle an angel. He tried to kill Moses. He sought to kill Moses. I don't know what the hell was going on between them, but evidently he couldn't get away with it because Moses must have been very tricky to try and get his hands on him. But at the last moment, his wife threw their son's foreskin at his feet. That's a very weird story. This God is very quick-tempered. He is so quick to try and cut you off. He is so quick to want to annihilate you. The man doesn't negotiate anything. And the only moment that he does negotiate is when he tells you one time and one time only. Some of y'all are very okay with that, but y'all know that if your parents were like that, you would say they weren't shit. If your grandparents were like that, you would say they weren't shit. I just saw a Christian talk about on a podcast episode that if he was to love his wife how God loves him, according to the Bible, he would deem that to be toxic. He would deem that to be a strong arming love. That's what he said. There is no free will with that. There is no freedom of choice with that. Why? Because it's coercion. I can't tell you, you have the choice to love me and just walk away. You have the choice to either love me or go about your day and walk away. But if you walk away from me, your life will be shortened immediately. You see how that sounds? I use this example all the time, and for whatever reason, the average of Christians cannot understand that. And because cognitive dissonance is so strong in religion, it doesn't really matter what I have to say. It's never going to go through. And so many Christians come on my platform and they want to debate me. They want to have all these counter arguments with me. And that's all they do every single day. And it's like, I'm so aware of these type of Christians because I used to be one myself. I am very aware of Christians loving to hear themselves talk. I get DMs every single day of Christians trying to convert me, Christians telling me I'm going to hell every single day. And they truly believe that they are doing the will of God. And then you have those lighter soft-hearted Christians who are like, well, those aren't true Christians. You don't know that. You don't know if they are true Christians or not. They could just be falling short of the glory of God in that moment, but still be going to the kingdom. You feel me? Nobody's correcting them. And while you over here trying to tell me that they aren't the true Christians, I don't see you hitting them up in the DMs. I don't see you conversating with them in the comment section. I don't see you going out of your way to correct your brethren as it says according to the Bible. I'm just saying. Don't come to me in my comment section and don't come to me in my DMs telling me that I am generalizing Christians and I'm putting y'all all in one space if you're not going out of your way to correct the ones who are doing the harm. That's supposed to be your job, not mine, but for whatever reason, I got to do the dirty work. I got to show who needs to clean house. I'm not going to clean house, but I will definitely tell you about yourself. This house needs cleaning up. This house is junky. And I would definitely blame the person who supposedly owns the house because you have his name platted up on the wall. You have his blood splat out outside the house. You have his face up. You have his crosses up. And yet I'm not supposed to blame Jesus for the atrocities that have been committed to my ancestors through Christianity. The indigenous people in this world who have been slaughtered, manipulated, taken advantage of, all in the name of Jesus. Jesus won't do shit about that. Quiet as hell. The man was sleeping so peacefully during slavery. He was sleeping so peacefully during Jim Crow. He was sleeping so peacefully during the Civil Rights era. The moment that black people begin to stand up and acknowledge their ancestry and their spirituality, and they begin to leave Christianity, now all of a sudden he has a problem with me. He has a problem with us. That's sketchy as hell. That's weird as hell. It seems like this God loves to keep people in servitude. It seems like this God loves to manipulate people and enslave people. The moment that you begin to give him less attention, he throws a tantrum. The man says that he is so jealous that his name is jealous. I mean, like, if God is supposed to be a perfect being, he should be the pure example of who you should want to be like. But when you study the characteristics of God in the Bible, are you truly acting like God, or are you acting better than God? Some of y'all know deep down in your hearts and deep down in your soul that the way that God was acting towards people isn't right. But you will go out of your way to say, well, it's not in my position to judge God, or who are we to say what is right and wrong when God does these type of things? God does whatever he wants. Giving him the pass because he is the supposed creator of the universe. And deep down in your spirit, deep down in your soul, in your heart, that what he does in terms of Noah's flood, what he does in terms of killing off the firstborns in Egypt is wrong. Wanting to annihilate all the Israelites and just make a great nation out of Moses. Moses had to talk God out of being a psychopath. That's the God you worship. This God regretted making mankind, so then he thought that he could press the reset button. And then when he saw all the chaos that he started, he said that he would never do something like this again. You should have never did something like this to begin with. You should have had your sons just have some pussy up in heaven, but you don't like feminine energy so much you didn't even want to give them female counterparts. Why didn't they feel safe enough to go to you about these discussions and these problems? That's a good question. These angels went together and they was like, we shall have our wives and we shall be on earth and have daughters and children with the daughters of men. We shall teach them our ways and teach them all the grand mysteries of the world. If you're all knowing they had these feelings and you let your children just go berserk, I don't understand that type of concept of God being all knowing and then allowing his own world to be taken advantage of by supposed evil if God is good all the time. This God has to be some form of a trickster God, because how in the world can you not hold yourself at least somewhat responsible for the way that the world is today? It's always the human's fault. Adam and Eve just got here on earth. They don't know the difference between good and evil and right and wrong. They didn't even know they were naked. That's how out of it they were. They didn't even know that they were naked. It took for them to acknowledge good and evil for them to even have awareness of their nakedness. That's the God you worship. He always feels like somebody's trying to jeopardize his divinity, trying to jeopardize his godliness. So then he has to literally inflict people with fear and anxiety and disease and famine. That's the God you worship. God will not be mocked, so you shall be punished, and you shall know the Lord your God. That's the God you worship. And then you want to soften it up. You want to soften up the character of God and say he is all loving and all merciful. And that's why he's giving you this gift of salvation, so that he can save you from himself. So that he can save you from what will happen if you don't accept him. I love when Christians try to soften up hell, right? Eternal torment, fire and brimstone. And yet they will try and soften up. Well, it's not necessarily just a torment. It's just eternal separation from God. Cut the bullshit, bro. Cut the shit. If I don't accept the Lord your God, I'm going to burn forever in eternity. And the thing is, it sounds bad. And they know it does, which is why they try to sweeten it up. But see, God's not sending you to hell. You're sending yourself to hell. Doesn't the Bible say, do not fear the one who can take your life, but fear the one who can take your soul, who can destroy the soul in your life, who can destroy the body and the soul? Isn't that what the Bible say? I can guarantee you nobody chooses to go to a place that they're not aware of. I can guarantee you that. Nobody chooses to go to hell. Except for the indigenous people that honored their ancestors, because there were people of ancestral or of indigenous heritage that acknowledged that they had a divine connection with the source and with nature in itself before Europeans and conquistadors came and took over their lands. That there are on record, there are indigenous chiefs, indigenous people who say, if there are people like you in heaven, I'd rather burn in hell. Now, for whatever reason, when stuff like that does happen, who's going to heaven and who's going to hell? Because it seems like nobody's informing the conquistadors that what they're doing is wrong. And if somebody's doing something that is ignorant and they're not aware of it, they get to go to heaven too. That's how I was taught. And then if somebody isn't aware of Jesus and they're living the rest of their life, they get to go to heaven. Even though all of this isn't biblical, mind you. All of this is fan fiction. These are doctrines that are created to make you feel better about this false dichotomy of heaven and hell. I want you to be very aware of that. So they have to literally create these different conceptions around heaven and hell, and who gets to go to heaven, who gets to go to hell, and who gets to be forgiven. Like Jeffrey Dahmer is in heaven. That's what you're telling me. According, if he willingly and sincerely gave his life to Christ, he's going to heaven. I can't believe that. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to accept that somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer, the people who he took advantage of, if they went to heaven, and then Jeffrey Dahmer enters into the gates, what could really go through your mind? You feel me? And you might proclaim, well, there's no temptation of evil. That doesn't mean anything. There was no temptation of evil when God created the beginning and everything else in the world, and yet Lucifer still rebelled. And a third of his angels went along with him. That's fan fiction too. That's not even in the Bible. But point being, you don't need a devil or an adversary to tempt you to do evil. The fan fiction story of Lucifer rebelling in heaven is evidence for that. Which brings on to another subject matter. Who's to say that when there's another heaven and another earth, that there also isn't another hell? And on top of that, when there's a new heaven and a new earth, what happens to the old hell? Everybody just cast into this magical lake of fire and they're just being tormented forever? Or are they destroyed? Or is it a rebirth? Because fire cleanses. So are people cast into the lake of fire to be cleansed of their iniquities, so then that they can become reborn and then take part into the new heaven and new earth? That's an interesting conception. That would be a little more merciful if you think about it. Experiencing a temporary lake of fire to come out on top and be reborn. That's also a conception in Sheol, where people temporarily go through this form of punishment and they experience this form of torment in the underworld and then come back to Abraham's bosom or to paradise. That nobody even in the afterlife for the Jews, nobody eternally goes through torment for their iniquities. Somehow there's a different afterlife for the Christians. Nobody ever really discusses what happens to Abraham's bosom and Sheol after Jesus died and resurrected, right? It's just this conception of heaven and hell, but heaven and hell and you going to heaven and hell isn't even in the Bible.
What?
Yeah, it's not in the Bible. Paul talks about many different times that the Christians who leave this earth are sleeping and awaiting for the second coming of Jesus. That's in the Bible. So you going to heaven and hell isn't even a real conception. It's fan fiction. It's a doctrine that was created to fearmonger you to the faith, to control you. And you think of yourself as lesser than. You feel you are deserving of going to hell because of things that you've done in this world, and yet you are the fucking light of the world. You are God manifested in a body. And I want you to really conceptualize that. You are the light of the world. You are God manifested in a body, and they have duped you out of your spirituality. They have duped you out of your own divinity. They've told you that if you like to have sex before marriage, that you're worthy of hell. If you like to drink a little, if you like to eat some shrimp here and there, you are worthy of death. Could you imagine doing everything right in the world, but you like to have a little bit of shrimp, you going to hell. You've done everything right in the world. You are the pure expression of love, the epitome of infinite love, but you like to have sex every now and then without putting a ring on it, and you go to hell. You don't cause no harm to people, but you just don't believe in Christianity the way that other people believe in it. Now you go to hell. There are over 40,000 denominations of Christianity, and everybody thinks they're right. Even being non-denominational becomes a denomination at some point. Even Protestant influence in other matters. Your mindset and your mentality is what shapes your own reality. As I heard this man named Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says that your personality shapes your personal reality. As the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so shall he be. Everything is formatted by the mind. Everything in terms of how you live your life is all based upon how you perceive life. If you continue to base your whole life on this same consciousness of you thinking that you're never deserving or you never could accept the greatness of life itself, that is all your life is going to be. You have to really shift and shape your self-identity. If you can't see the God in you, the light in you, if you cannot see that you are deserving of everything that the world has to give to you, if you cannot accept the prosperity in this world, the abundance of life that Jesus said that you can ultimately have, to seek first the kingdom, the consciousness, the presence of the divine source that is within you, so that everything that you show desire and want can be applied to you. That you no longer have to worry about tomorrow, what you shall eat or drink, or who's in control, or who's the ruler of the world or of the lands, because you serve a higher power. You acknowledge a higher power within you. You have taken on your power and authority in this world to have dominion, and that when God be for you, who can be against you? What shall man do to you? So many people, so many Christians, and I hear this with family members. I hear this with so many different black people. They fear so much about Donald Trump or whoever's in office, and they're going strictly against the Bible, creating rumors of war and gossip of all these different things in this world. I feel like sometimes I be more of a Christian than they do because I don't have any fear of who's in office. I don't have any fear of what's going to happen here or there because I'm just focused on my purpose and my mission and what I can do for myself and for the people that I love. I don't have time to focus on just the little things in life, bro. Life will pass you by if you keep focusing on what everybody else is doing. Life will literally pass you by if you keep focusing on what you're not doing right. Life will pass you by. We are already in April. It felt like we was just in January a couple of weeks ago. It felt like we was just in March and now we're halfway through April. Does that even make any sense to you? Because that don't make sense to me. I don't understand how we're just now April. In the middle of April. We are on month 4 of 2025. And some of y'all have allowed your sin consciousness, your supposed low self-esteem to hold you back from your true purpose and your true mission. And you have the power. You know what it would take. Look at those birds, man. I love nature. You have the power You have the light. You have everything. Really think about this. Everything that you need to advance in life, everything that you need in order to prosper in life, everything that you need in order to be abundant in life is already given to you. You are already instilled with every single tool that you need necessary to be successful, but you don't believe it. So I've done enough talking. So I'll end off with this. Please accept the God in you. Please accept who you truly are. Don't listen to a he say and she say about you being perfect. Outside, externally, yes, we're not perfect. But internally, we have God within us. We have the eternal light, the divine source within us. Our spirit is perfect. Our spirit is whole. And once we come to acknowledge our divinity and our righteousness, we can do anything that we put our minds to. Stop thinking of yourself as lesser than the next person. Stop thinking of yourself that somebody like Jeff Bezos and Grant Cardone and Elon Musk can really receive the best things in this world, and you're just supposed to be a slave, a servant, just clocking in, just being the average human. You are more than average. You are a priceless individual. You are an infinite energy, infinite light, infinite power in a body. And once you come to just acknowledging that every single day, you can do anything that you want to do. Whose world is this? The world is yours. Is mine, is mine, is mine. Whose world is this? The world is yours. This has been episode 105 for the Omnius podcast. My battery's going dead. It's giving me the red flash. It's going to cut off any moment now, so I'll just cut it off before it cuts me off.